Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rebecca Nofi, GNRC's volunteer coordinator, and I've probably talked and emailed with a lot of you, but not everyone had the pleasure to actually meet with me in person, so it's really nice to have all of you at least here in a virtual way. I'm super excited to be able to celebrate all of your accomplishments from 2020 today in this virtual celebration. 2020 definitely has been quite a roller coaster of a year for all of us. We've been through a lot, but each and every one of you has participated in volunteer opportunities and emergent needs that we have had during the year. And you really are making a difference in making our communities a better place to live. And we had a lot of different opportunities in this past year, and some of the opportunities that we've had in the past had to be put on hold. So I'm really grateful to all of you for bearing with me through all these changes and new opportunities and new needs. I have enjoyed working with each and every one of you. Especially this past year, we've had a lot of new volunteers join us through the letter campaign, and it has been really a pleasure to see what a difference you all can make and see how your actions really speak for themselves. I haven't met a lot of you in person, so seeing how you still, are so involved and making a difference is really amazing. So thank you for making Middle Tennessee really an amazing place to live and making it so much more special through your involvement. So let's take a quick look at what we have planned for you today in the celebration. First, of course, I'm welcoming you here, and then we're going to start off with some fun. We have a trivia game planned for you. Then we will hear from Mayor Paige Brown, who is GNRC's board president. We have an agency overview and some highlights from 2020 for you. We're going to hear the impact that the volunteer program has made, and then we're going to go into the volunteer awards and have some fun door prizes afterwards. So I'm going to head right into the trivia. I'm glad you all have been able to find the chat and already tried that out, because that's going to be key for the trivia game. It does involve a little bit of speed, because whoever puts in the correct answer in the chat first will be the winner of that particular question. We have a prize for each question. So try to have the chat open. Go ahead and open that right now and put your fingers on the keyboard so you can be quick and putting your response there. We have a couple questions that are number questions, so you might not come up with the correct answer. I will just pause us after about a minute, and then we'll just make the person the winner who has come closest to the actual answer. For the staff members on here, please don't participate. We don't want to, spoil the answer and take it away from the volunteers. So just please hold off on participating here. You can kind of do your fun guessing in your head and share with us later. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with the first question. I hope everybody has their... I see a question there. Somebody's raised their hand. Hold on. See if I can unmute you here. Can you type your question in the chat? Or was that just an accident? Not seeing anybody type. Okay, if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead with the first question. Which GNRC department has the largest number of volunteers involved in its programming? Please just type your answers in the chat. That's... I see a lot of SHIP responses. Think of what is the larger program in GNRC that and not a particular volunteer program, but the larger program in GNRC. I haven't seen the correct answer yet. There we go, aging and disability programs. That is right, Denise. So you are the winner for that question. So aging and disability programs, of course, SHIP program and the Later campaign are under their program. Thank you, Denise. We'll mark you down as the winner. And then we're going to the next question. Everybody ready? How many letters have volunteers sent to seniors and disabled individuals in nursing homes and assisted living facilities in Middle Tennessee since April 2020? It's going so fast here.
Just as a reminder, while all of you are participating, for GNRC staff, please don't respond to these questions. You don't want to give away the answer.
I'm going through looking through the responses. Sorry, they're popping up and out of order for me here. Okay. I'm going to just give you 20 more seconds to put in your answer. Okay, so the correct answer is 26,715 letters. So I think the closest answer is Vicky, or am I missing somebody here? Kristen, I think she's the highest with 10,000.
Rebecca, I saw 10,000 and I saw 200,000, but I think the 10,000 would be closer.
10,000 would be closer, yes. Okay, I'm gonna like it here so we can keep track. Okay. All right, you guys had good guesses. I'm really amazed by that number. It's phenomenal how many letters have been written. Next question, probably a little bit easier. And please, staff, do not respond and give this away. How many counties does GNRC serve across Middle Tennessee? Okay, I think I saw the correct answer. Just have to see who it was. Yeah, Nancy Parker was the first one with 13 counties. So the correct answer is 13 counties. Nancy, do you happen to know what counties it is? Just putting you on the spot there. So I'm gonna put it up here. So it's Cheatham County, Davidson County, Dixon, Houston, Humphreys, Montgomery County, Robertson, Rutherford, Stewart, Sumner, Trousdale, Williamson, and Wilson counties. Good job, Nancy. So next question. In 2019, GNRC volunteers gave 6,500 hours of service. what was the % increase in volunteer hours for 2020? Just take a guess. Obviously, that's not something you can necessarily know, but thinking about all those letters. Okay, I'm going to give you 15 more seconds to put in an answer. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the answering. The correct answer is 133% increase in volunteer hours. I'm trying to see who got the closest here. I see 150. I think the 150 is the closest. Am I seeing that correctly? Guess double check me here.
That's what I saw too, Rebecca.
Okay, so that was Lakeisha. Congratulations. Then the next question. How many volunteers logged volunteer activity hours in 2020? Okay, 10 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the answering here. Let's take a look. The correct answer is 1,000 volunteers logged activity hours in 2020. Let's see. I see 950 from Tom here. I think that's the closest. Yes. Tom, you are the closest with 950. Congrats. And then one last trivia question, so one more chance to win a prize. How many volunteers contributed more than 100 volunteers hours in 2020? So total volunteer hours for 2020 for a single volunteer. And we're going to give it just 15 more seconds. Okay, we're going to close the answers. I'm going to take a look. So the correct answer is 22 volunteers gave more than 100 volunteer hours. I'm looking at who is the closest. Most of you went very high on that one. I think you're right. Jamie with 10 seems to be the right one. Thank you all for helping me out here. congratulations to all of you winners. I'll be in touch with you for the prizes. Please just double check your information in the volunteer system, making sure I can actually get in touch with you, so that your email and phone number is correct on there, so we can send it to you. Good job, everyone. So now I'm super excited to introduce to you Mayor Paige Brown of Gallatin. She's GNRC's current board president. Mayor Brown, thank you so much for being with us today and celebrating our volunteers. The screen is all yours.
Yeah, I'd rather not be looking at myself talking, but that's okay. Hey, everyone. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be with you all today. I'm glad that you're here participating in the celebration of you. But it's really special for me to be able to say thank you on behalf of our GNRC Board of Directors. You know, it has been one crazy year, and I think we have all felt so many challenges, so many disappointments, lots of sadness, lots of heartache. But I think for me and for our GNRC staff and our GNRC board, the volunteers have truly been such a bright spot. You guys have adapted and adjusted and, oh, the word I hate, pivoted at every turn to be able to serve the people that you serve well. That 133% increase in volunteer hours is just amazing. And the people that you are reaching in the hour in what you're doing as a volunteer, this has to be so very meaningful to them. I think about the people in the nursing homes, and then they get a letter when they haven't had any contact with people from, lack of a better term, the outside world for so long. To hear that someone is thinking about them and cares about them, that has to mean so very, very much. And then, you know, the other things that you do, you know, you're touching individuals and you're changing individuals' lives every single day with what you're doing. And so thank you for facing the challenges head on, for giving of yourselves. I really enjoyed when y'all were starting the meeting and you did the trivia quote. I guess it was the icebreaker, I guess, that you did, to see your responses about why you volunteer. And I know that you all put other people before yourself. I mean, that's entirely evident, especially those 22 people that logged more than 100 hours. Wow. And good for you guys. And thank you. But it's evident if you serve as a volunteer and you're looking to help people in our communities, you are putting others before yourself. And I hope in some way that's actually helped you bear the difficulties of the past year. But I want you to know that your efforts, your contributions, your generosity is recognized, it is appreciated, it's valued, and by the people you serve, certainly, but also by those of us who work for or serve on the board for the Greater Nashville Regional Council. So I thank you all. If I can ever be of any help, please let me know. I wish you certainly brighter days ahead. I'm confident they're coming. And I hope that you will stay engaged and continue to help through this organization. It means a lot. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Brown. Really appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts with the volunteers. I hope the presentation is back up for everyone. Looks like it. So now, next up, we have our Executive Director, Michael Skipper. He will tell us a little bit more about GNRC and what we have accomplished this past year, so we can kind of share all of that with you. Michael, you want to go ahead?
Well, thank you, Rebecca. Let me first say how much I appreciate taking the baton from Mayor Brown. She has been a wonderful president for GNRC and a tremendous leader across not only our region, but the state of Tennessee on so many issues that are important to Middle Tennesseans. I also want to just say how much, how honor I feel to be with you all today. In a bit, I'm going to talk about the sort of the organizational structure of our agency, and you'll see that volunteering and extended partnerships are such a big part of how we go about doing our work. And I think the importance of describing that to you all, I know what sort of motivates you to be the volunteer that you are, is the personal connection that you get with individuals across the region. But I know a lot of you also care about plugging into the bigger universe of doing good. I think of GNRC as, I mean, we happen to get paychecks, which is awesome. But I think we all come to work every day also wanting to make everybody's lives better, help businesses be more efficient, and just deal with some of the challenges that a growing region like Middle Tennessee is facing. So we are very honored to not only have our positions at GNRC, but to work alongside you, and you're an important part of that organization. So I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like so that you understand or have a chance to see that bigger within which you're fitting. But before I get into that, though, I also just want to say hello to all of our GNRC staffers who are online with us today. We are still largely work from home. So I should also say welcome to my kitchen here in East Nashville. Hope you're enjoying the fridge art behind me. But I do want to say hello to all the GNRC staffers who are online with us. We don't have as much opportunity to see each other as I wish we could outside of the specific projects that we're working on. So with that, Rebecca, I'll go ahead and get into some of the slides that you've prepared for us today. I know everybody's anxious to get to the highlights of the volunteer program for the last year, and obviously the awards that are intended to honor the great work that's been done. But a little bit about GNRC. I think a lot of you who've been with us for a couple of years have come to know this. But the Greater Nashville Regional Council is a public agency. It was initially created by the state legislature back in 1965 as part of an act that was really incentivized by the U.S. Congress, who at the time was realizing that federal investments in infrastructure and social services really needed to be coordinated through local decision makers, people like Mayor Brown. And so they incentivized states to create regional councils of government or development districts. Those are sort of synonymous terms for the purposes of convening local elected officials with state and federal leaders to brainstorm and make joint decisions about how government was going to improve quality of life within metro areas and regions across America. So that's really our history in a nutshell, probably the most significant aspect of our history that I'd want you to take away from today. As far as our organization today, there's really 6 parts to our organization. I know there's a lot of geometry on the screen here, but don't let that be overwhelming. I'll just kind of walk through each of these 6 parts. First part is our membership and the governing body of our membership. And so we have a literal regional council, which is comprised of all the municipal mayors and all the county mayors across those 13 counties that somebody mentioned earlier. Then we also have 26 spots on this council that are dedicated to private citizens that either represent business and commerce issues or issues of social equity and inclusion. So 26 private citizens representing one of those issues, 2 per county for those 2 issues. And then we also have 2 state legislators who sit on our regional council, and an executive board that meets every single month to act on behalf of that regional council. So that's a really important part, obviously, of our organization, the most important part, because that's why we exist. But we also have part 2 here, which is the staffing. And you can see that pinwheel, if you will, is the way we represent sort of the different areas of work that our staffing does. And I'll dig into each one of these here in a little bit on a slide or 2 down the road. But we've got about 80 plus professionals right now at GNRC, social workers, urban planners, infrastructure planners. We've got obviously economic and community development administrators. So just a lot of different professions and skill sets represented on the staff of the regional council. And we work every single day with the other parts of the organization that I'll mention in support of that governing body. We have what we call policy boards, which are independent decision-making bodies for the purposes of setting policies, either for transportation infrastructure, for example, in the case of the Transportation Policy Board. We also do small business lending through a couple of different grant programs, and we have a board of directors that has independent authority to make decisions about what loans we're going to make through those programs. And so the policy boards, which are independent decision-making authority to implement the work of the GNRC, is part 3 of our organizational structure that I was going to mention. Part 4 are these advisory committees, which are formal coalitions of folks typically related to the programs that we do in a formal way. They're helping to formulate, along with our staff, the recommendations up to one of those policy boards or the overall governing body that I mentioned first. Included in that, many of you have become aware of the Aging Advisory Committee, which helps us formulate how we're going to invest the state and federal funds that we get each year to support older adults across Middle Tennessee. So that's the fourth part of our organizational structure. And then probably my favorite part of our structure, except for our staff, obviously, are those orange boxes, which represent a roundtable network, which is sort of a little bit disconnected from the formal decision making. These boxes here represent the different groups of practitioners and experts in both public and private sector parts of our region who are coming together to solve specific problems. And then what happens is they come up with really great ideas. Our staff will analyze those ideas, and then sometimes those ideas are things that we can implement. And sometimes they're ideas that we would then coordinate with another agency to get implemented. But I would say the real creativity and the magic that's happening within GNRC is being done by these roundtables. A couple of them that I think are really important are the Middle Tennessee Mayor's Caucus, which Mayor Brown serves on, which is just a way to get mayors to build a relationship with each other and to brainstorm without thinking about budgets or other limitations, just brainstorming ideas that we can then test to see if they would be really good. So that's one of the really important ones. We also have an environmental roundtable that is looking at our potential impact on the natural environment and natural resources as we continue to grow. It just allows us to get ahead of the game a little bit to make sure that we're minimizing our impact, but also taking full advantage of all the resources and the natural beauty that exists here in Middle Tennessee, just to name a couple. So if we move on to the next slide, and I should say the sixth part, which I didn't say, I led with this, but it's the most important part really is that, because we're a public agency and we're largely grant funded, a lot of the grants that we get to, for our programming won't surprise you, are sort of stagnated on, have stagnated. The federal government has been slow to sort of keep up with the rise of the cost of services across the nation for a lot of these programs. And so increasingly, not only are we honored by the work that you all do to extend our capacity, but it is a sheer necessity to make sure that we can do the things that we know we need to do as an organization, despite limited funding that comes our way year over year. So that's I'd say, sixth part, but most important part in terms of extended capacity, which is why I led with it. Real quick, just a quick map. We talked about the 13 counties earlier, and that is absolutely an accurate answer within the context of who we sort of represent. But the work that we do across Middle Tennessee is often dictated by the market associated with the issue. So for example, with transportation, the work that we do there, we also include Maury County because of the importance that they play in our broader commuter shed and the necessity to collaborate with partners in Columbia and in Spring Hill and Mount Pleasant to make sure that the transportation solutions for Middle Tennessee are accommodating of the commuters that are up and down that I-65 corridor. Other programs have different geographies, but more importantly on this map, what you see there is in the fiscal year 2020 period that I'm going to be highlighting today, each of those little light blue dots are a direct impact to a homeowner, to a renter, to an older adult, or to a community that we assisted over the course of the last year. So thousands of dots on the screen, and we're really proud of not only the work that we do, but the way that it's distributed across the entire Middle Tennessee area. Next slide, I believe, will probably be my last slide, and we'll get into the festivities. But I wanted to give some of the highlights from the work that we do across our various departments and divisions. We mentioned earlier, it was a trivia question about which department of GNRC has the most number of volunteers, and that would have obviously be Aging and Disability Services. But moving into the future, we're really anxious to get volunteers plugged into economic and community development, local and regional planning, and the policy, government affairs, and research and analytics work that we do. I know a lot of you and people on the community are not only interested in helping people improve their quality of life in the real-time sense, but also you want to be plugged into the decision making that's happening for where we're going to invest in infrastructure, or how we're going to build communities to support a growing population. So we also, we're very anxious to get those new opportunities out to you. But real quickly, let me focus here on the three main departments of GNRC, which are Aging and Disability Services, Economic and Community Development, and Local and Regional Planning. That's where the predominant number of our staff are organized in those three areas of work. And just, I'm going to run through some of my favorite highlights from those staff members and their partners from fiscal year 2020. And the information that I'm sharing is also included in our annual report, which is available at gnrc.org/annual report. But a couple of things that really stood out to me in 2020. Number one, we had 53,000 collective hours of in-home services provided to more than 2,000 senior adults across Middle Tennessee. And so this is direct services to those individuals in the form of homemaker services and personal services that help people age in place for as long as they can without having to be displaced to an assisted living facility. So 53,000 hours of in-home services over the course of 2020. We delivered or provided more than approaching 500,000 meals to nearly 4,000 senior adults across Middle Tennessee. Extremely important. A lot of this was done on the precipice of the COVID-19 pandemic. Those numbers are going to be blown out of the water for the coming year. We also had 7,000 plus Middle Tennesseans receive information and screening services from the staff at GNRC, and nearly 13,000 individuals receiving Medicare-specific information and counseling from our shop. So a few highlights from the Aging and Disability Services Department. Moving over to Economic and Community Development. Here, our job is really to help local communities plug into grant opportunities that exist at the state and federal level. So in a sense, we're trying to track down money to invest in our local communities. And then when we get that money in partnership with those local communities, often we're hired then to project manage or admin that money so that it can be spent efficiently. Over the course of the last year, we managed more than $64 million in grants across Middle Tennessee, which are largely aimed at infrastructure investments within local communities. But also, I'd like to point out that we awarded as an organization with the state tourist development office $35,000 to local communities to support tourism marketing activities. And in partnership with the Arts Commission at the state level, more than $40,000 to support the implementation of arts within our local communities. So we make sure that we're paying attention to the softer sort of assets that define who we are as a local community. I also want to point out last year, and you'll see these numbers go through the roof in the coming years, but 18 individual homeowners also received direct support through the GNRC to repair roofs or floors or windows, things that really got in their way of being able to stay in their house. Moving on to community regional planning, I think the big highlight here, we coordinate the decisions about how federal and state dollars are typically going to be spent on transportation improvements, so roadways, bridges, public transit, walking and biking, and the Transportation Policy Board that Mayor Brown serves on as well, was responsible for programming more than $1 billion worth of federal, state, and local investments to improve transportation, mobility, and accessibility across the region. We've also extended our work directly with local municipalities and county governments to help them plan strategically for the future and make sure that they were helping to shape communities that were welcoming and accommodating of anyone who would love to call Middle Tennessee home. So with that, Rebecca, I know I went over the allotted time, but I do think it's really important to take a moment and describe the context within which you're doing your great volunteer work. And I'm looking forward to turning this over to Rebecca. Before I do though, Rebecca, just fantastic job. The 130% increase in volunteerism is in large part due to her leadership and the structure that she's put into place to accommodate the significant amount of interest that exists across Middle Tennessee among people who want to give back. And we're just very honored that you are choosing to give back through our organization. So with that, Rebecca, back to you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really love working with all of you and all our volunteers. So this is really my dream job. So I'm so glad to do it. So now I want to share a little bit about the impact that you have had. And here's some beautiful infographics that Shannon put together. So we had over 15,000 hours of volunteer service in 2020, which is the 133% increase that we already mentioned. And we had 1,000 volunteers who submitted volunteer hours in 2020, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so impressed by these numbers, especially during a pandemic, to see that so many of you have reached out and have been wanting to do something and just picked up and jumped on the opportunities we have posted. So thank you all so much. We've heard before we had 22 volunteers with over 100 hours, but 34 volunteers had over 50 volunteer hours. So, you know, a lot of you really are putting a lot of time into volunteering, and it's really appreciated. And I'm always a little, you know, weird about putting a number value on volunteer hours, but the state average value is the volunteer hour at $23.50. So that's what it would cost, you know, a company to have volunteers as staff. So that number would be $356,000 that we saved by having all of you put in your time and make these contributions. So thank you all so much. I want to just highlight a couple of the things we have done. We had many communications volunteers who've helped us with some different tasks. We had people help us translate marketing materials into Spanish and Arabic to help reach populations that we previously couldn't really communicate to well. Sending English brochures to somebody who doesn't speak English well usually doesn't bring a lot of fruit. So having these translations is really valuable in reaching those communities and making sure that they are aware of the services that we can provide to them and that are available to them, often free. So it's really important to reach those populations as well. So thank you for all of you who have helped on those translations. We've had volunteers help with creating graphics and writing copies for social media, which is always a huge help. You know, all your volunteers, if you are sharing the social media posts and liking them, that really helps us reach a larger population, because your friends see it, then your friends can share it, and their friends can see it. And so we'll be able to reach many more people and tell them about the wonderful opportunities that are available to them. So I definitely encourage you all to follow us on social media there. We've had not too many in-person events during the pandemic, of course, but we did do some virtual events, and so we had some people help with those as well. And we did a Volunteering Matters campaign and put together a video to kind of spotlight the volunteer program, and we are very happy to show that to you now. A huge thank you to Shannon and Michael Gill, who helped shoot the video and edit it over hours, and to the volunteers who participated in the video. We had Nancy, Kathy, Bree, Martha, and Leilani participate in the video and then kind of share their volunteer stories. I'm gonna let you all watch it. In testing this, some people had issues actually seeing the video when I hit play. So if it doesn't start playing for you, we can share the link with you later on in the follow-up so you can watch it on YouTube, or you can just press the play button right now. I'm going to play through it and then keep going here, but just know you can watch it at a later time should it for some reason not work on your computer. Hi, I'm Rebecca Nofri. I'm the volunteer coordinator for Greater Nashville Regional Council. I'm honored to work alongside so many lovely volunteers who put their hearts into making our communities better. GNRC is responsible for a broad range of programs that have a tremendous impact on the quality of life for Middle Tennesseans. Our service spans across 13 counties and 52 cities within Tennessee. Because of the broad range of services, we have a wide variety of diverse volunteer opportunities available to choose from. We are continuing to grow our programs and opportunities more every day. Whether it is serving others through writing letters, to isolated seniors making visits to our guardianship clients, or just helping out with events, we have plenty of opportunities available.
It's my time to give back. I worked for many years and focused on myself, my family, and that was about it. I didn't reach out. It's time I give back something to the city that has treated us so well.
After 50 years in nursing, I felt like I wanted to continue serving others in some way.
Volunteering is important to me because I know that there are a lot of people in the community that need extra help and they might not have family or friends that can help them. So as long as I have the time, then I'm willing to do so.
Volunteers taught me how important it is to be out there. It has taught me that there are many, many more people who need help, whether it be health-wise or just knowing that someone's there to listen to them or talk to them.
I care about how people are treated. That's a big issue for me, especially the senior population. And I also care about being an advocate for those who can't speak for themselves, and for those who don't know about programs that are out there that can help them.
I love going out and being able to see these people and know how much I'm giving back.
I would encourage anyone who has opportunity of time, talent, to volunteer with the program.
If you're interested in volunteering, I would say to definitely do it. It will give you a sense of purpose. You'll feel better after you do it, and you will probably like it and do it as often as you can.
Volunteering gives me a sense of belonging, a connection with others, and a way to plug into my community in a way that brings positive change.
My passion for serving others gives a sense of purpose and meaning to my life. By giving a little bit of my time, I can help thousands of people across Middle Tennessee.
By giving my time and service, I am not only helping others, I am adding value to my community.
If you're passionate about using your time and talent to serve others, we'd love to hear from you and plug you in. Wherever you are, whatever your talents, you can make a difference. Learn more on how you can help make an impact by calling 615-862-8828 or visit gnrc.org/volunteer to see all the volunteer opportunities in your area. Sorry if not all of you were able to watch that with us, but we will be sharing the YouTube link with you in the follow-up email too, so you can definitely watch that at a later time and be able to share it. So Michael was talking about the funding we received to deliver meals to seniors in Middle Tennessee, and staff played a role in that, but also our volunteers. We had 23 volunteers who helped us deliver 4,311 meals to seniors in Davidson and Sumner County for several weeks, and all with very little notice. So we were super grateful for all of you who jumped on those opportunities and signed up for them really quickly. And those volunteer deliveries really helped us enable some of the restaurants who participated in the program and who were struggling during the pandemic to be able to be part of this, even if they didn't have delivery capabilities, because the volunteers just stepped in and delivered for them, so we could still pay them a fair amount of money for the work that they were doing in preparing these meals. So thank you all for that. Then we've talked about it a little bit, the letter writing campaign, which is really has become kind of a passion project for me. It has been so much fun to interact with so many of you through the letter campaign, and then getting the reactions from the seniors in the nursing homes who are just overjoyed by receiving these letters and telling us how they really just made their day to receive a card today or a letter, and how they're treasuring the artwork that have been put into it and hanging it up in their rooms to decorate. And it has really been a joy to lead this letter campaign. In 2020, so just that year, we have sent 16,709 letters. And just over the last 4 months, 3.5 months, we've almost added another 10,000 letters to that. So it's been amazing how many letters you have written and how consistent so many of you have been by participating on a monthly basis and sending so many lovely notes and really cheering on the seniors and breaking through some of that isolation so many feel. Here on this slide, we've got a couple quotes from some of the nursing home staff who are the ones who receive your notes and then go and deliver them to the patients and or residents, depending on what they are called at each facility. I'm going to read a couple to you here. So Hope says, thank you so much for sending the letters. Our residents are looking forward to them, and I continue hearing how they make someone's day when I give them out. A huge thank you to our awesome volunteers. Second one is from Lucille. She said, just a note to let you know I spoke to 2 members so far this morning who got the cards from GNRC volunteers, and they were very much appreciated. I expect to speak to many more happy seniors. And then from Ava, words can never express how much hope the letters have provided to our residents during the pandemic. The residents are really inspired when they receive cards from the volunteers and they enjoy them. Please continue sending them. Thank you for all you do to make our seniors and disabled residents smile. So I just wanted to give that straight to all of you who have participated there in sending letters, because they really do make a difference, even though you might feel you're just sending a letter, but it's so much more than that. Then our Medicare counseling program is, of course, one of the programs that has really been able to kind of continue just through the pandemic. We have had to make a lot of changes and move to virtual presentations and then counseling only over the phone. And during the open enrollment period for Medicare beneficiaries, we had to weren't able to do all those in-person events that we usually would do and had to transition to just on the phone and virtual, but it has worked really well. And I'm very impressed with how our volunteers have been able to transition to the virtual world, the new technology that we've been using, and have kind of rolled with all those punches with us. So I'm very impressed with all your commitment there. So we have spent over 7,000 hours providing counseling and administrative support and data entry. And we had 4,600 clients who have received counseling directly from a volunteer. So those are pretty impressive numbers. Then, without further ado, we're going to move into the volunteer awards. I know we're running a little bit over on time, so I'm going to try to not rush through it, but still move forward here. Our first award category is Commitment to Excellence Award. The Commitment to Excellence Award recognizes an outstanding volunteer who is providing their services with attention to detail, always consistent in their performance and willing to help with whatever serves the mission. They always strive to be the best they can be in their volunteer service and are willing to do what it takes. So this award goes to Benjamin Facer and Nuha Allah. Both of them have done wonderful work in translating the work into Spanish and Arabic to make it accessible to the communities in Middle Tennessee who speak those languages. It has been a great help, and we have often sent materials over kind of needing it back by the end of the week or within a couple of days, and they have always been able to help us out really quickly. They are doing wonderful work. So we wanted to give you this award, and we have really relied on you to make those translations. So thank you so much. Then we also given the Commitment to Excellence Award to Susan Freeman, Dee Brown, and Carol Worth and Maureen Bronlinger, who are with the SHIP program and have provided free and unbiased Medicare counseling to beneficiaries and those soon to be eligible for it. All four have demonstrated commitment to the program through nearly 100 volunteer hours each, and counseling session by doing plan comparisons and spreading the word about SHIP, and by spending many hours with data entry for the program. We are so grateful for all of your passion and commitment to doing great and working and helping beneficiaries with their Medicare questions. Thank you for all you are doing. Slide. Then the next award is the Silver Heart Award. The Silver Heart Award recognizes volunteers who are especially caring about other community members and serve for the greater good or a specific cause. These volunteers are passionate, use their empathy and creativity to connect with others, and put in a considerable amount of time to volunteer to improve the life situation of these underserved groups. And the Silver Heart Award goes to Angela Diaz-Bale and Mary Bryan. Congratulations to both of you. You have both participated in the letters to seniors and disabled individuals on a very, very consistent basis and produced lots of letters and handmade cards each month. In 2020, both have spent around 70 hours making cards and writing letters. So thank you all so much for putting your kind and caring hearts for the seniors into our communities and brighten their lives. Kind of funny with the virtual applause, but trying to make it not sound so so empty, because we are proud of you. The Golden Heart Award is up next. The Golden Heart Award recognizes volunteers who have given a significant amount of time to serve their community and or underserved groups within it. They have demonstrated commitment to the mission, and they use their resources and skills to further the cause in a reliable and heartfelt way. They also have a heart of gold that they are not afraid to share, but they are never looking for credit from others, but instead focus on the service itself. And this award goes to Lane Dickens. Lane has been a faithful volunteer with the letter campaign, joining the campaign in the summer, and since then sending letters each month, pouring her heart into uplifting the seniors and disabled individuals in the nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Her letters have made such a positive impact on their recipients, and we are grateful Lane is putting smiles onto those faces and helping break through the social isolation these clients face. Thank you, Lane. The next award is the Most Valuable Player Award. The Most Valuable Player Award recognizes volunteers who are always putting the team first and are willing to pitch in wherever it is needed. This volunteer offers the help with a variety of projects and needs and will always demonstrate a positive and caring attitude towards others. This award goes to Kathy Ramsey. Kathy has been a volunteer with the Greater Nashville Regional Council since 2018 and has since then volunteered in many different functions, mostly with the SHIP program, but also with other agency events and administrative tasks as needed. In 2020, she has served just over 125 hours. She has been an extremely valuable asset who is always willing to help with anything that comes up and needs to get done. She's a ray of sunshine, always carrying out her tasks with a smile on her face, and everyone enjoys working alongside her. Kathy, thank you for always being willing to step in. You are amazing, and we're so glad to have you as a volunteer. Okay, then I'm getting to the most engaged new volunteer. The Most Engaged New Volunteer Award recognizes a volunteer who has joined the volunteer team within the last year and has demonstrated an outstanding commitment to honing their skills to best serve the mission. This volunteer has put in a tremendous amount of time and has hit the ground running, making a huge difference through their service in just a short amount of time. This individual strives to provide the best volunteer service possible and has been very consistent in their involvement with the organization. The Most Engaged New Volunteer Award goes to Tom Wren. Congratulations. He is a ship volunteer as well and truly has hit the ground running. After his initial certification training, he has put in a lot of work to learn as much as he can about Medicare. He has picked up the often difficult subjects with so much ease and has stepped into counseling in an impressive amount of time. He has become one of our valued counseling volunteers and has been providing phone counseling on a weekly basis. Tom, the SHIP program is very grateful to have you, and we are so glad you expressed interest in the program, and it has been a pleasure working alongside you. You have also contributed close to 200 volunteer hours in 2020, so that's very impressive. Thank you. Then we have the Mentor of the Year Award. The Mentor of the Year Award recognizes a volunteer who has been committed to service with the agency for quite some time and has taken on a leadership role among the volunteers. This volunteer has spent time training new volunteers and getting them comfortable with tasks they need to perform in their role. And this volunteer has also a great amount of credibility and knowledge to effectively share with others. They are also using their own experience when teaching others, establishing themselves as a wonderful resource to their peer volunteers. The Mentor of the Year Award goes to Ray Dawes. Ray has been a volunteer with GNRC since 2018 and has since been faithfully provided Medicare counseling to beneficiaries on a weekly basis. He is super knowledgeable in Medicare and is always willing to help new volunteers to learn from him and with him. And in 2020, GNRC kind of had a complete turnover within the staff for the SHIP program, and his expertise and willingness to step in have been invaluable. In 2020, Ray gave 565 hours of volunteer service to the volunteer program, which is a huge amount of time for one person. So thank you so much for passing all that knowledge on to newer volunteers and helping them be just as excited and committed to Medicare counseling as yourself. We appreciate all your counseling and all the help you provide to the beneficiaries who need help. Thank you so much. And the last award is Volunteer of the Year. The Volunteer of the Year Award recognizes a volunteer who has made a significant difference in the last year and provided great support to the staff. This volunteer possesses extraordinary skill and knowledge and is extremely passionate about the mission of the program they serve. This volunteer is also committed and you can always rely on them. This award goes to Nancy Parker. She has been a volunteer with GNRC since 2013. That alone shows how her outstanding commitment is, who has volunteered for this many years at the same organization. So that's impressive. Nancy, I can really not imagine the SHIP program without you. In the last year, we have lost both staff members of the SHIP program and at one point didn't have any staff counselors, but with the help of Nancy and other SHIP volunteers, we were able to continue seamless service to our clients. And Nancy volunteered 1,067 hours of her time to the SHIP program in 2020 and helped countless beneficiaries with their Medicare questions. She is a tremendous asset to the program extremely knowledgeable, and a resource for staff and volunteers alike. Nancy, you are so amazing, and I can only hope that we have a long time before you retire from volunteering. Thank you for your service, not only from us at GNRC, but also from all those Medicare beneficiaries that have benefited from your help. Your time made a huge and tangible difference in their lives. Congratulations on Volunteer of the Year 2020. So that wraps up the volunteer awards, and I'm very sorry we are over the time, but we'll try to wrap up here shortly and do some door prizes. But I wanted to give Mayor Brown just another chance to just react to the presentation and give her closing remarks. Are you still available to talk for a minute?
Mayor Brown, you may be on mute. Oh, there you go.
I am. I was trying to. I am. When I am not on camera or not speaking, I close down the camera close down the computer that has my camera on it, which I would advise anybody to do. But let's see. I'm not seeing anything, but I assume you're seeing me.
Yes, we are seeing
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Well, it was just delightful to be able to actually learn more about what all the volunteers do. Truly, truly impressive. And I hope it's inspiring. I mean, I think if you guys can share your stories and help recruit even more volunteers, imagine the people that can be reached. So, and the video is great. Whomever put that together did good too. Thank you all who participated in that. I think that will help garner some more participation as well. But I hope that you will keep with your work as volunteers. As I said before, it really matters. It matters to individuals. It actually matters to kind of the health and the livability of our entire region. And I think that that's something to kind of be aware of. If you're not in the volunteer world, you're probably not thinking about that. But for people who never lift a finger for others, you're making their lives better too. So thank you for doing that. I hope you will continue to. Again, if I can do anything, please reach out, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. We really appreciate you being here today and sharing with us. And I'm very excited to have such wonderful volunteers who do such amazing work